Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, welcome to Podcast in Stone, a very special episode. Very special episode. We have the one, the only, Gene Adam on the show. If you don't know who he is, you should know who he is. But he is the original vocalist of Purgatory and Iced Earth. Hello, Gene. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing today, Jason and Chuck?
Welcome, Gene. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a very much a privilege to have you on our show. We very much appreciate your time.
Well, it's an honor to do it. I'm just kind of freaked out by the whole thing that 30 years later that people are still excited to talk to me about the old days of Iced Earth, and it's really kind of cool.
It's a case of like we spoke about it in episode 1, where like you don't get like you as a member of Iced Earth, there's a lot of like negativity around that kind of era, and we were trying to like go, no, it's good, shut your face kind of thing, like trying to just give, because everyone talks about like Stu, obviously he's a new guy, Stu, Tim and Matt. No one gives love to the John Greeley and yourself. And I'm like, why can't people just like go and listen to the first album, go and listen to Storm Rider? They're great as they are, and stuff like that. So I feel it was necessary to like just get people on board with the older stuff as well.
Absolutely.
Well, I feel like in comparison, like you say that people make that comparison, what we were doing back in the early days was different than what Iced Earth is today. It was more like I don't know. It was more thrash metal, I think, and it was more underground, and it was just I don't know. It was just different, and my vocal style fit with what we were doing at the time, and the band progressed, and they are what they are today. And I'm grateful to have been able to be a part of something that's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Can I ask you, what age were you when you realized that you had the pipes to be a lead singer? Do you remember about what age you were when you started singing?
Well, in high school, I started playing guitar and singing and playing in a couple little high school type bands, and there was never anybody to sing. So I was like, I'll sing. So I just started singing. I never took any lessons or anything. I just started singing and just had a passion to sing, and then I discovered I like to write songs, and I started writing songs.
Nice.
I've always wanted to like always go back to the beginning and how you came about being the singer for Purgatory to begin with. Like, how did that kind of start? Do you remember how that kind of began?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was looking around for some bands to play with, and I met Richard Bateman. You guys know Richard Bateman, the original bass player from Purgatory. And
I know the name.
I was 23, and he was still in high school. He was 17 years old, and this kid was so great on the bass guitar, and we started writing songs together. And we were looking around to form a band, and we were out at a metal club one night, and there's John Schaefer and Greg Seymour. And we met, and we started jamming together, and they knew Bill Owen, who played lead guitar, and he brought them on board. And it was just like, it was history, because John already had some songs, and I already had some songs with Richard. And when we got together, we had already 15 or 16 originals before we even, played a show. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot to Bill. He seems really happy with what we're doing as well. And he's sending us a load of stuff, which is really, really kind of him. So Bill, if you're watching, you're too kind to us. You really are awesome guy.
He is a good guy. Yep.
I'm glad to see you're safe and everything after Irma.
It was really bad down south in Miami and in Key West and stuff. By the time it got here, it had settled down a lot. It wasn't as strong as it was down there. A lot of power lines down, and trees that fell on power lines and stuff. So that's the most damage.
Gotcha. Now, of those songs, go ahead.
I was just going. At least you're safe. You know, that's what matters.
Right.
Yes, thank you very much.
Material.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
Of the songs that you had mentioned that were written, how many of those were the horror themed, the ones that we've seen pictures of you with, like the Freddy Krueger glove and stuff? Do you remember how many of those were?
The original songs that John had was Burning Oasis, Mystical End, Jack, not the one that's on the
horror
new
show,
horror, but the original Jack. And a song called Creature of the Black Lagoon, and another song, an instrumental called Purgatory. And then me and Richard had like, we didn't have any of those horror movie ones yet. That came as we came together as a band. We used to like to stay up. We all lived together as a band. We lived in the same apartment complex, and we would stay up all night, you know, doing things, kind of drugs you probably shouldn't be doing, and watching horror movies all night long, and Clockwork Orange and stuff like that. And it just, the whole horror concept came out of that. It was kind of cool.
Clockwork Orange,
nice.
Clockwork Orange, a film from my side of the ocean.
We must have watched that film 1,000,000 times, man. That's where the horror show title came from, because in the movie the guy says, "Oh, it's a real horror show, mate." And that's where the whole idea for horror show came from Clockwork Orange.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's cool.
That's really neat. So, were you disappointed, or what were your thoughts when the title of the band changed from Purgatory to Iced Earth? Because I think it's a better title myself.
John always said we always knew there was that other band from Cleveland named Purgatory, and we knew that we might have to change it eventually. So I think he told us from the beginning about that name, Iced Earth. And at first I didn't like it, but how can you not like it now, right? I mean, looking back.
What I like about the transition from Purgatory to Iced Earth is that the Purgatory is still there in its in the iconography, because if you put Iced Earth's logo and Purgatory's logo together, there's a lot of similarities in their design. So I think obviously Purgatory lives in like the iconography of the Iced Earth's logo, and obviously John took a lot of inspiration and songs from the older stuff. Like a lot of the stuff from Purgatory, from what I can tell, has gone on to the horror show album. Like in 2002.
Yeah, I think a lot of the riffs that he plays, he still plays a lot of the old riffs and uses them in some of the newer songs. So.
Yeah, because I was listening to. I bought another one. It's blue.
Right.
I was listening to Dracula, and there's a interlude bit of Dracula where it eventually was used in Diary off of the Burnt Offerings album. Because it played that bit, I'm like, I know Matt's melody here, but it's not there because it's like from Purgatory. So I'm just like, oh, this is in Diary. This is in Diary. He reused it for Diary. That was quite interesting. Oh, okay. To hear bits that would become other songs is quite interesting when listening to the Purgatory stuff. I like going back in time and hearing what a band was. Like, I love that kind of, to see how a band evolves like that. And I think Iced Earth as a band has evolved so much over 30 years or whatever it's been. That's why I love them, because they're just every album's got a different flavour,
Yeah, exactly. I feel that same way. I've seen the evolution, from how it began to what it is now. I don't follow them as closely as you guys do, but I do go and hear, songs from the albums. I don't listen to the whole album or whatever, but I can hear the progression and the different singers and and all that. It's just, John always said that he was gonna do this thing called Purgatory / Iced Earth, whatever. He was gonna become a major band, and he did. I mean, he did it. I mean, whatever whatever happened along the way and whoever feelings got hurt along the way, you know, John had a goal set out to do, and he did it. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah. Now, after you met him and you guys had got together, how long was it before you guys started recording the demo that would become the Enter the Realm demo?
Oh, the Enter the Realm demo was probably, wow. It was probably a couple of years after we got together.
Okay.
We were Purgatory, and we did a bunch of real generic demos. And then we started to record a demo that had actually that song, you probably know it, Haunted House it's called. It's on some Purgatory stuff. Okay, we had done a demo called Psychotic Dreams, and it was never released. And John came to me and said, hey, I have these songs here that I want us to record because I feel like this is really going to be big for us. And he had, you know, Nightmares and Colors and all that stuff, and we ditched that other demo and we recorded that. And like I was telling Jason earlier, that's what got us signed.
Speaking of speaking of a debut, why wasn't Nightmares on the debut? Because that's an awesome song. Why wasn't it on the debut? I've always wanted to know because it ended up on because they re-recorded it for the Days of Purgatory release with Matt. But like that demo version is the only version with yourself on it. Didn't actually make the album. Do you know why it didn't make the album? Was it like time
you know, there's probably a reason, but I don't really remember. You could probably ask John when you see him.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the better songs on the demo, in my opinion. It's a well good song. God damn it! Damn. Sorry, I keep.
Also, since you guys were doing Mystical End, were you surprised that wasn't at all recorded in either the demo or the first album, or were you not surprised by that?
No, I wasn't surprised. I think Mystical End and Burning Oasis were kind of put to the back burner. John had these fresh ideas for these Life and Death and Curse the Sky and all those songs. It was kind of something that was new and fresh in his mind that he wanted to do, and I think, you know, those songs I think he probably always was gonna do them. It wasn't the time, you know, on the first album.
Nice.
Is Mystical End on Storm Rider with Greeley? Is that a lot different than the version that you sung?
It's faster. That's really all. It's just a little faster.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, it's a great song. I always like Mystical End. I always like Mystical End and Burning Oasis. To me, they were like some really great songs. Good songwriting.
Right.
We're jumping. We're jumping in.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say we spoke like off air, like briefly, Gene, and you were saying about how, in your opinion, John Greeley was your favourite kind of era, since obviously after you departed, like he's your favourite. Like, can you elaborate on why he's your favourite? Like, yeah.
Well, because I know him for one,
Right.
and I just like the way he sang the songs, like Iced Earth, for instance. He kept it like close to the way I sang it, and it just sounds more evil, you know, more like intense. Like, I like Matt Barlow, don't get me wrong. I think he's an amazing singer, way better singer than I am, but I just didn't like the way he did the old songs. I like the way John Greeley, I just like John Greeley's got an intense kind of real raspy kind of cool voice. I don't know.
Like I've posted on the group like that bit of Mystical End where it's just like, you know, the burning sun is turning the burning sun turning to black, falling from the sky. He does that note, that really high note. I'm just like, it gives me chills every time. It's such a like masterfully done. Like, it sounds like it's easy for him to do. And like he's really good, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm sorry, Chuck. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, did you know John while you were still in the band, or did that happen after you guys were both out?
It was after I was out, Dave Abell, the bass player, him and John Greeley were really good friends. That's how they found John Greeley. Dave introduced them, and so we used to go out clubbing together to the bars and stuff, and I just knew him that way. I did, even before he was in Iced Earth.
Oh wow.
I did like my collection video the other day, and I was wondering about why Europe got a different album cover than the US. You confirmed that it was that cover art. I don't have it on hand.
This one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
This is original, still in the plastic. This cover. Okay, so when we got signed by Century Media, they did the artwork. John submitted artwork, and then they had their own artist at Century Media, and that's what he came up with. And then John, I don't think John was real pleased with it at first, so that's why he did the other cover to be released in the United States.
The Falling Angel, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he originally wanted, and the artist from Century Media came up with this, and when we saw it, I'm not going to quote for sure, but I don't think John was too pleased with it.
Yeah. Nice
guy, the artist, but I don't think it was what John really was looking for.
Do you have a preference in terms of the artworks?
I think the European cover is more colorful and more like a lot more artistic, and the other one is just kind of plain. I think the European one is just more like it'd make a great tattoo. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's cool.
I've never heard that story about Century Media coming up with the artwork. That's nice.
Yeah. When we got signed by Century Media, they were just a small little label. We went to Germany and we got there. It was just a office building with Robert Comp had his office, and there was an art studio, and then there was a lobby, and that was it. And it was really the ground floor of Century Media when we signed with them.
And now they're a massive label.
Yeah.
Would you say due in part to Iced Earth, do you think?
I would say due in part. They have a lot of really big bands on that label now. I would say definitely due in part to Iced Earth.
Saying that the last Iced Earth record is going to be the last one on Century Media, because John, in interviews, John's been saying that he's going to be going independent. He's going to have his own studio. He's going to do it himself. It's like, which, we
lost Chuck.
We lost Chuck. Oh no! Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. Welcome back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay. So we were getting to the part where you went to Germany and you went into the small. That's the last I heard. The Century Media.
Yeah, it was really, really small, and just like 2 offices and then a lobby, and it was really, when we got signed, it was the ground floor of Century Media.
Okay.
Really.
And then I said, "Is Century Media's success part due to Iced Earth?" And then Gene, you partly agreed to that. That's basically what the conversation went, Chuck. So
we're caught up now. Okay.
So it's, the audience is caught up twice. Anyway, I was saying that this Incorruptible is the last Iced Earth album on Century Media because John wants to go independent. There's one thing that we've been wondering, as Gene, you've worked with Century Media. How would John go about being able to, like, if he wants to re-release the first album or the second album or whatever, does he have to buy the rights for them to do that? Is that how it works?
It's been so long. I don't know what's transpired over the time. He may already have purchased the rights to them or whatever. I'm not sure, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, I hope he's got all the rights for it, because it'd be a bit weird that he's got his own independent kind of like label, I suppose you want to call it a label, but like it'd be a bit weird if it's like, oh yeah, I've gone independent, but I can't sell any of the records.
Right.
Because Century Media, it'd be weird if Century Media owns all the, basically his whole career, Century Media owns. It'd be weird. I'm sure he must have negotiated something, because it'd be a bit odd for him not have access to his own kind of material.
Yeah, it's tricky dealing with record companies. That's probably why he wants to go independent. Record companies are not the friendliest people in the world.
Yeah, like I watched an interview where he's basically saying how it's like, you know, it's the age of like do it yourself, and the record label don't really have any foothold anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like,
digital. Everything's digital. You just do it yourself now.
yeah, like I'm in my own bands, and our EP is going to come out eventually. It's taken 2 years to make it. It's been a nightmare, but yeah, we're putting ours out. Our EP is going to be about a 5-track EP. We're going to put that out digitally, but I've been begging my bandmates to do a physical release, like CD. And they're like, yeah, but there's no money. They say there's no money in it. I was like, yeah, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I love music. And just to have it in mind, just to hold a physical CD, I mean, you know, and be saying, oh, I'm a part of this. That's what I want. So it is digital era, you know. It's the age of convenience as well. Because the only CDs I buy now is Iced Earth. I don't buy anything else. I just stream it, you know.
Right.
I don't have any space. I've got like 800 CDs in my collection. I've got no space anymore for any more. Like, and the problem is I can't sell them because no one wants to buy used CDs anymore.
Right.
It's especially here anyway, in the UK. No one wants CDs in the UK anymore.
Now, after the album was released and you guys went overseas to start playing live, I've heard him say that he was very surprised that, you know, a lot of the people and stuff already knew the music. How was it going overseas and starting to play, you know, to the bigger crowds over there?
It was like being in the Beatles. It was like going from here in the United States, maybe 50 people would show up at a show, and then we go to Europe and it's like we're rock stars. They were wanting our autographs, and they all had our album already. I mean, it was just barely released and they all had a copy, and they wanted it signed, and they were all chanting Iced Earth, Iced Earth. It was unreal. It was really a shock.
Yeah, from what I've noticed, especially places like Greece and Finland, they've really embraced like heavy metal as like a culture and actually a way, like as a kind of like it's a big popular genre in those kind of territories, and like, that's why you see like Alive in Athens, they go to Greece, they got I think you mentioned it, Chuck. You know, I'm guessing like John would rather play in front of 2,000 people than like 100 people. Because I always complain about, oh, why can't they come over to the UK and film a DVD over here? And Chuck was like, yeah, look, they don't get the turnout. That's why. It makes sense. But yeah, Europe is massive for heavy metal and stuff like that. You know, in Germany, if you look on Germany charts, I guarantee it's always a metal band. That's like #1 in the charts over there.
Right.
It's just
Enter the Realm, the demo. That went gold in Germany before we even went there and played our demo.
What does
P went gold?
What threshold is gold? What milestone is gold?
I think it's 50,000 copies over there or something, or 100,000 or something. I think it was 50,000 is gold over there, or maybe it is 100,000. I'm not sure in Europe.
Well,
it's different than in.
Well, the demo or the debut?
The demo went gold. This Enter the Realm went gold. It was the #1 selling import in Europe.
Wow. If they sold so many, how is it so scarce?
I don't know. Because it's on cassette and maybe they got destroyed. I don't know.
After you guys recorded that Enter the Realm, did you realize how special it was? That, you know, 30 years later it would be, you know, sold out on eBay and stuff? Or did you have any clue how special it was?
I don't think at that time, you know, we knew that it was going to still be around now and be like considered the holy grail of the Iced Earth collection.
It is like my prized possession. It really is. And it's funny you say that, like, you know, like about how you never knew how things would become like sought after and you know, collectible and stuff like that. So like with my band, when we do eventually get this EP on like physical CD, my friend said to me, I want you all to sign it. I want the first copy off the belt. I want the first copy because you could be superstars like years to come. I'll get the most expensive rarity ever. I'm like, I hardly doubt that. But then again, Gene, you're here and you're proof that, you know, sometimes bands do become really, really popular, and really old releases from bands tend to be super, super collectible. And I own one. And Chuck, you don't have one, do you, Chuck?
Not yet. Not yet.
You need one, don't you?
But I have something you don't have. I have something you don't have, Jason. First one off the press.
First one off the press. Autographed Jacob's Well CD. The first one ever printed.
I'm done. See you later.
So, when you guys went overseas to start doing the first tour, was that your first time overseas?
To Europe, yeah.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we went to Israel. But as far as like to Europe and to do something big like a tour like that, yeah, that was incredible. It was the first time I'd ever been to so many countries in such a short amount of time.
Right. You said that you guys kind of felt like the Beatles and you were instant rock stars. Was there anybody that you met over there that, you know, was kind of a hero to you? Was you able to meet anybody?
Halloween, which was kind of cool. We hung out with them in Hamburg, meeting them at the time. They were really big back then. It was kind of cool. And meeting Blind Guardian, you know, and touring with them, just getting on that tour bus and meeting them, it was kind of like, wow, you know, this whole thing is real now.
How does touring, like, you know, take its toll on, like, you know, your body and your mind? Like, because I've heard stories of people finally getting to the touring stage of a band and they can't hack what it takes to tour with a band.
Right.
So how was the experience for touring for the first time for you?
Well, we learned pretty quick that it's not a big party, because you have to stay healthy, especially singers. You can't be yelling and screaming and drinking and smoking and all that stuff, because if you lose your voice, you know, you can't sing. And you know, so you really, there were nights that I went to bed right after we played. It was like everybody was up drinking and I was sleeping, or, you know, and you have to be careful that you don't get sick while you're out on tour because you're not, you know, getting the right amount of sleep and all that stuff. And so, yeah, it's definitely not like a huge party if you're serious about it. I mean, I'm sure there are bands that, you know, live that party kind of lifestyle, but if you're really serious about what you're doing, you know, it's more than just that.
Yeah. There's hell with me, like, I know it's nothing to do with touring per se, but like with my work, I work 12-hour days, so if I have band practice the night before, then have to get up for work, I feel awful. I feel like I'm half dead because I just want to sleep more. Because I do like a 3-hour rehearsal, come home, go to bed, get up at 5 in the morning to go to work. So that's like, thankfully today, obviously I've just had band practice earlier. Today, like, obviously I got tomorrow off, so it ain't too bad. But usually, like, that kind of, I understand where sleep's important when you're performing and stuff.
Yeah, especially when you're on stage and it's hot and you're sweating and you're pouring out all the sweat out of your body, and then you're exhausted. You know, you go outside and if it's cold outside and you're all sweaty, and you know, it's easy to get sick out on tour because you're not really, it's not your regular lifestyle, you know, unless you're on tour constantly, you know, but it's not really your regular lifestyle you're used to when you're on tour, sleeping in a bunk bed and partying and stuff. It takes its toll.
Did you ever blow out your voice at nights during concerts?
I blew out my voice towards the end of the tour, but in Germany and probably in England too, the Food and Drug Administration doesn't exist like we have here in America, and the tour manager gave me these drops that you drip onto a sugar cube and you put it in your mouth and let it dissolve, and it healed my voice overnight.
Wow.
So, I don't know what those drops are, but you can't get them in America.
Was there any songs off the album or off the EP that were difficult for you to sing live, or was it everything, pretty easy?
No, I think I always tried to sing within my limits for that reason, because you have to do that live, you know what I mean? I don't think so. I think every song was pretty much, I could sing it almost exactly the way it was in the studio. I could sing it live. We never, on the first album, if you listen to the vocals, there's not a lot of effects on the vocals. There wasn't a lot of time spent on the vocals. Most of the time was spent on guitar. But the vocals are pretty much just, maybe a little effect on them, but not much. So, I don't think I ever struggled. Iced Earth is always a hard song to sing because I would get a headache from screaming. So after I would be done, I would have like a quick headache, but it would go right away from putting out all that oxygen,
Right.
As we're on the subject of your vocals on both the demo and the debut, I just want to say that my argument for that album and your vocals in particular is that I always say that you convey a lot of character with your delivery and stuff like that on that first record, and it's got a lot of charm. And I just some of the things that you do with your voice, I'm just like, how do you do that? He's like, I think it's like, what do I see? Like kind of like you do an arc with your voice. I don't know how you do it because I can't do it. That was an awful impression. But yeah, it's the things there's things you do on that debut. I'm just like, how's he doing that? I can't, my brain can't get over how you, the technique of doing those kind of certain higher to low, but it kind of flows like an arc.
Right.
Some of it's just sounds really cool and suits the songs really, really well. And there's loads of people I talk to that are just like, oh, the first album's trash, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, but it's not though. Don't give it a good chance, god damn it.
Right.
People.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say, when he was talking about that, what were your thoughts when you heard that they had redone the Purgatory, had redone the first two albums? Did you want to listen to it, or did you not want to listen to it when it came out?
At the time when it came out, I wasn't really listening to any Iced Earth. There was a lot of hard feelings for a long time. But what I've heard of it now, like I said, I love Matt Barlow's voice. I think he's an amazing singer. I just didn't really like the way it fit with a lot of those old songs like Colors, and I don't like Cast in Stone at all. I do not like it. It's the same riff from Written on the Walls, but
right.
It's a little cheesy to me. I don't know. Sorry, Matt, if you're listening. I love your voice. You're an amazing singer. I just didn't like. I like the way he did Life and Death, and what's the not Life and Death? What's the I can't even think of it now. I'll tell you 1 second. I like the way he did When the Night Falls. That's it.
Okay.
I like that version of When the Night Falls. I think he has a good voice for that song. That was my favorite song that he redid, When the Night Falls. I think I didn't really care for some of the others.
No, go ahead.
Concerning Written on the Walls, with its transition into Cast in Stone, was that due to it being your song, or do you know why they changed it to a completely different song lyrically?
Yeah, well, when I left the band, we just made an agreement that that was the only song I used when it was Purgatory. I used to write all the lyrics, most of the lyrics, and John would write the music. And then as it got later on, John took over most of the writing stuff, and Written on the Walls was one of the only songs that he kept that I had written the lyrics. So when I left the band, we just kind of made a verbal agreement, just he wouldn't do those lyrics, that he would just, so he decided to rewrite it with different lyrics.
I remember like when I bought Days of Purgatory and it got to Cast in Stone, I'm just like, wait a minute, this, because I thought it was a new song, but it was like, this is Written on the Walls. Why is it changed? What was wrong? Because there's nothing wrong with Written on the Walls. It's a great song, but I understand.
Yeah,
I understand they couldn't use your lyrics, so they changed it.
Yeah. And I absolutely love the acoustic version that you put on YouTube. That's a great version.
Well, thank you.
Are there any more of those classics going to come YouTube way?
If Randy Shawver lives very close to me, and I would love to get together with him and do some jamming and see what comes out of it. But he's, I don't know if he's there yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's ready yet. So it took me a while, to come out of the closet, the Iced Earth closet. I don't know. I just felt like for a long time I just didn't want any part of it.
Well, we appreciate you coming out, and a lot of people are enjoying, or are going to enjoy seeing this for sure, and hearing some great stories that you've already shared with us.
Thank you.
Now, you had mentioned that you have a few goodies there to show us.
Yes, I have some cool stuff. I know John. I don't know if Johnny Z. You guys know Johnny Z, right?
Brazil Under Ice, yeah.
Brazil, yeah. I don't know if he watches your podcast or not, but Dave Abell gave him one of these, and I have one of these as well. It's an original poster that we had made of the horror show, the original horror show with Jack and Jason's Mind on it. And that is like, it's turning brown. It's so old.
I spoke to Bill, and Bill was going to send me one of those posters, but the one he's got is in poor condition, so he's going to reprint one for me and send me one.
Yeah, so this one's in pretty poor condition. It was up on my wall for a long time back in the past, and it's got thumbtack holes in it, and it's turning kind of brown. And I don't know if I showed this on the air or not, but this is an original tour shirt from our first Iced Earth tour in Europe.
Do they pop up on eBay at all? Because I want one.
I have never seen that shirt before. I look at eBay all the time, and I've never seen that before.
And these are the original backstage passes from the concert.
That's so cool.
From the tour. I have they're the Blind Guardian logo, and they're the original. And I have a lot of magazines. This is a Metal Hammer magazine story about Iced Earth. Are you familiar with Rock Hard magazine? I don't even know if it exists anymore. But in Europe, it's a European magazine, Rock Hard magazine, and they did a full printout on Iced Earth. This is all before we came to Europe. These magazines were out in Europe before we even got there.
That's crazy.
So we already had made a name. And I have this, which is really kind of cool. This is a Purgatory button that we had made to pin on your vest, on your leather vest.
In the UK, we call that a badge. In the UK,
yeah,
so that'd be a badge.
That's a Purgatory badge.
Yeah,
and I have a Burning Oasis demo, original.
I want one.
Wow,
I need them.
That's actually,
I've never seen that.
Yeah, this is how they were. They were just cassette tapes, and we would send these things off to record companies, and it has artwork on the inside.
Has it only got one song on it?
No, it has three. It has Burning Oasis, Jack, Lobotomy, and In Jason's Mind. And it's even got the lyrics inside and everything.
Now,
And it was all
that's the
all done
holy
by
grail,
hand.
man. That's the holy grail of like, you know.
Right.
Because I was talking to
I've
Bill.
never-
I was talking to Bill, and with me and Bill both agreed that I said to him, I see Purgatory and Iced Earth as one and the same, because they are, like, you know, one wouldn't exist without the other, you know. And he agreed with me, and I'm like, well, that make so now I've got this. I need those. Was it only one? Was it only one demo cassette for Purgatory, or would you do a second one?
We did 2, but this is one that we actually shopped around to record companies. And the crazy thing is, it was recorded on a jam box, like a cassette player, and it was put outside of the room because it was so loud inside the room where we were practicing. It would overload the microphone, so we put it outside. So this was actually recorded on just like a regular jam box cassette player.
Wow.
Now you've probably seen this already. This I want to say a wonderful bootleg, which has the Enter the Realm demo and the Purgatory demo. Is there anything missing there? If you can see that from my camera, or is that all of it?
Uh-oh. I like it.
Is there anything missing from there that didn't make that album?
There's actually extra tracks on here.
Okay.
Haunted House, Burning Oasis, Jack, and Jason's Mind. What's the first one? What are the
Dracula.
Dracula, yeah.
Oh, see, Dracula was actually on a separate demo.
Okay.
Dracula and it was actually
It's blue
done
as well.
separate. Yeah. So yeah, this one here hadn't written Dracula yet. Dracula came later, and it was released on the Haunted House with Haunted House. On the I think it was called. I'm trying to remember the name of that demo. It might have been Haunted House. It was the name of the demo. I don't know, but it had Dracula on it. Yeah, Dracula was recorded later.
Okay.
That's cool.
We also had the demo that had Jack in Jason's Mind, and trying to think if there was anything else on it. I don't know if it was recorded at Morrisound though. So we had several demos that they never did it. We recorded them to try to get signed, and we would just send them out to every record label that we could find. We would just send them out, and so there's tons of them probably out there somewhere because we sent a ton of them out.
Wow. That's a nice piece of history there.
Yeah. One thing else I wanted to show you, just to give Bill Owen some love. This is a live Unearthed concert that we played when we went on tour in 2005. This is a DVD, and if you'll hound Johnny Z about it, I had a friend rip it onto their computer, and he has a copy of this.
I do have some news though. Bill's gonna send me one of those.
Oh, good.
He's sending me one. He's told me he's sending me one. He's being really nice. He wants to send me loads of stuff.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. Bill, and Dave Abell are still friends. Like you all live in Tampa, right? Yeah. Well, Dave moved away from Tampa. Dave moved to the other coast of Florida. But we've remained friends. We did the Unearthed thing together, and we've remained friends, you know. And I have an Unearthed tour shirt from when we went on tour in 2005. So I have that. Bill probably has one of those as well. I think that most of the big... Go ahead.
With Unearthed, did you guys do original songs, or what kind of songs did you guys play for that project?
Yeah, it was really cool. We did a lot of the old Purgatory stuff that I had written the lyrics for, and we did new stuff that we wrote together, and then we even did our own version of the song Iced Earth, so it was kind of cool. It's
Oh, wow. Is there any good audio recordings of that, or only on DVD?
Only that DVD is all that's out there. We did do a demo. We recorded at a local studio. It had 2 songs on it. I don't know how come it's not. I've looked for it on the internet. I haven't found it. It had a song called Fire in the Sky and another song called Unearthed. And we recorded it. And Mark, do you guys know who Mark Prater is? He played drums for Iced Earth for maybe one album.
Was he on Dark Saga?
I think it was in one of the earlier ones, yeah. But he
Yeah.
played drums on the demo, and it was me, Bill Owen, Richard Bateman played bass, and David Bell actually played guitar. So a bass player playing guitar.
Am I correct in guessing that Unearth is a fun pun on the idea that you've all come from Iced Earth? Is that where that name come from? Like Unearth, like
yeah, kind of and kind of not. It was just kind of like because we had been gone out of the scene for so long that we were kind of unearthed. Here we are again. And kind of also a pun on the Iced Earth. That we're members of Iced Earth and we're kind of back. Here we are doing something new, like unearthed. We've been unearthed.
Yeah, like
dug up.
Me and Chuck was saying that what we think's really special about this like interaction right now and how we're recording this kind of conversation is that we were saying that there's very little, if nothing, like in terms of interviews or anything with you in particular, especially when you're regarding Iced Earth and those early days. So that's why we really kind of thought it'd be really good to have this conversation and stuff. Yeah, so I think people are going to be quite happy when they see this.
Yeah, it's really good to talk about it because for a long time I didn't want to talk about it. I kind of just hid the stuff away in a box and I didn't talk about it. And a friend of mine who's plays in a band, and I'll give his band a plug. It's As They Sleep. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that band, but check him out. His name is Aaron. And he told me, these people, you have fans out there and you're kind of selling them short, man. Like, you should get out there and, tell people that, you're still alive and that you appreciate the fact that they, still care about you 30 years later, and he really spoke to me and kind of got me out of the closet as far as, talking to people about Iced Earth again. And plus I can plug my Jacob's Well CD. You can get it on digital everywhere, on iTunes and all that good stuff. So pick it up. That's my only plug.
We have been promoting it also because I love acoustic music, so I will promote it always. I think it's great to hear your voice again, and I hope there's more Jacob's Well to come. I know you had mentioned that you're already writing. When will we see another?
I just put a song up on, sorry to interrupt you, I just put a song up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. It's called Shadow of Your Wings, and we're going to record 2 more songs in probably late October, early November. We'll be back in the studio and we'll have those for digital release. We may also, there were a few things on the demo we weren't happy with the sound of, so we may just remix the whole thing and re-release it. So we're still talking about that. So, but definitely 2 more songs coming this fall.
Now, will they also be acoustic, the acoustic vibe of the first one?
Yeah, that same kind of vibe. Some of them are more electric, more rock sounding than others. But when we play live, it's an acoustic thing. It's just, we switch off instruments, banjo, mandolin, guitar. I play harmonica, and we just switch off. We all play a lot. It's kind of like a new folk sound. I don't know. It's not, it's just kind of like I don't know. It's an Appalachian folk. Not quite, I don't know what you call it, but it's acoustic. It's definitely acoustic. But we are not opposed to using electric guitars. I'll put it that way.
Is there any chance that Unearthed or anything heavier is going to come along, or are you just happy in the acoustics?
I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I never count anything out. Whatever, I leave it in the hands of the Lord, and wherever He directs me, I just follow. This felt like what I was supposed to be doing right now. The whole Jacob's Well thing just kind of fell into place, and the whole Written on the Walls acoustic version on YouTube, all this stuff just kind of started falling in place. And it wasn't anything I did intentionally to promote this or promote that. It just kind of all just started happening, and I just kind of went with it, and here I am.
Now I want to go to our Podcasting Stone group as we have some viewer questions, like our little community that we've built, which I'm really proud of. We've got currently, I think, 88 members currently on our Facebook group. So thanks to everyone that has joined our group. We appreciate the support. I'm just trying to find it. There we go. Found it. I do think you've answered a lot of these questions already. Adam Ortiz asks, do you still listen to metal, and would you ever sing metal again?
Like I said, I don't rule anything out. I do listen to metal, not as much as I used to. I'm an old school guy. I'm older, so I like a lot like old Black Sabbath, old Iron Maiden, old Judas Priest. You know, to me, Defenders of the Fate is when they wimped out. So anything before Defenders of the Fate is good Judas Priest.
Oh,
I do like.
You're button heads with me now. Like Painkiller is my favorite Judas Priest.
I do like Painkiller. I was just going to say that they redeemed themselves on Painkiller only because they got a good drummer. The drums made that, and Rob Halford's voice is priceless on that album.
That drum intro, man, da, 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 da.
Yeah,
so good.
That's a great CD. I also like, like the old Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, Power Slave, Killers, all the old Iron Maiden, all the old Black Sabbath, Dio, Ozzy. I was into what I call underground metal, more of the underground metal scene for a long time. But not as much now as I used to be. Now I listen to, guess what would be called more mainstream metal or whatever, older metal, more popular stuff.
Okay. Cool.
I do have a story I would like to share before you go on to the next question. The way I got into metal, I have a friend I went to high school with, Mike Browning is his name. He was the original drummer for Morbid Angel. And we used to jam together in high school, and then I didn't see him for a while, and then he formed this band with Trey and them, Morbid Angel, and I started hanging out with them and listening to them, and he introduced me really to the whole world of what that time was called underground metal, like Venom, and when Slayer first came out, and Destruction, and all those bands. I had never heard underground metal before, so that's kind of how I got into that whole underground metal scene like that.
That's cool. Yeah, as I was going to do the thing. Richard Clark asks, have you got any interesting stories from your time in Iced Earth?
there's
that you want to share.
You'd have to nail it down a little bit more than that. There's tons of interesting stories. A lot of them probably I shouldn't tell anymore. I don't want to get anybody in trouble with their wives or anything. But yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened. A lot of the songs were written when we were under the influence of a lot of different stuff back in the Purgatory days.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs, kids.
Do drugs. We lived together, and we partied together, and we laughed together, and we cried together. Purgatory was like a family. And, so there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened. On the tour with Iced Earth, probably the craziest thing that happened out on the tour was in Paris, France. So here's these Florida boys, we're in Paris, France, and, it's all beautiful, and it's cool, and it's Paris. So there's a famous club there. I'm pretty sure the name of it is Club Gibbous or something like that, but it's Led Zeppelin played there, Deep Purple played there, they have all these pictures on the wall. So Iced Earth, we had our own sound man that traveled with us all the time. He was from Florida. He practiced with us. He was our sound man, great friend of the band. So we brought him on tour, and which a lot of bands don't do, especially on their first tour. So we get to Paris, and the club had a house sound man, and he was not happy with the fact that we had our own sound man and that he wasn't going to get to run sound. So he did something to the sound, and when we went on stage, this horrible noise was coming from the monitors, so loud of a squeal that we couldn't even play anymore. We had to stop after like the second song, and we went backstage, and the club owner went out and talked to the sound man, and then we ended up finishing the show, but it was horrible. And we went to get something to eat, and we went to a restaurant, and John ordered French onion soup. And I think the guy was offended because he brought out a bowl of water with an onion in it and handed it to John. So I think he was a little offended that John ordered French onion soup in France. I don't know if that's not a thing you do. I don't know, but it was kind of funny.
That's great.
I can't pronounce this guy's name. Blair Heronfrith. I do apologise if I pronounce your name wrong. He says, "What's your weirdest live show experience / fan that you've met?" And don't say us, please, because that's.
The live show experience would probably be the weirdest. Was that in Paris? So
yeah,
it would probably be the weirdest thing. Not too much with the fans. We always had good fans. Even when we were small time in Florida, people would come out to the shows. Man, they loved some Purgatory / Iced Earth. I mean, we had a loyal following, even when we were just getting started.
Iced Earth never used to really tour the UK very often. When I got into them back in like 2000. So put that into perspective, like 10 years since the debut album. So I wasn't old enough to really afford a gig ticket or anything like that. So I never really got around to seeing them until 2011. Fortunate to get a VIP ticket. Literally, ever since that day, when they come over to London, I get there like 6 hours before the doors are open. I make sure I'm first in line. I make sure I'm at the front. I don't care if there's an old lady I've got a headbutt. I'm getting to the front. Like, yeah, I'm always the first one at a show because I need to be at the front. It just needs to happen.
Gene, have you made it to any Iced Earth shows or seen John since you were out of the band?
No, I have not seen Iced Earth or ever. Never, no.
Okay.
They came to House of Blues in Orlando a couple times, and I thought about going, but I never went.
A really kind of like, I don't know whether I want to ask this question or not. It's a serious question. Adam Ortiz asks, serious question this is, did you leave Iced Earth on good or bad terms?
It was bad. There was a lot. I'll tell you, there was a lot going on in Iced Earth back then. Even before the album came out, when we got signed, it changed a lot of things. Even when the name changed to Iced Earth, things began to change as far as, writing and stuff. John began writing everything. And first of all, before I'm a singer, which most of you people know, I'm not my state claim to fame is not my singing voice. I'm a songwriter. And if you tell me I'm not going to be writing anymore, I'm going to go somewhere else and write songs. I'm just a songwriter. That's what I do. I love to write songs. I love to express myself. It's my art, you know what I mean? So there were problems in the band before all that happened, and, it was not good terms. I don't know of any of the original members that left on good terms.
Wow. Does that scream volumes of how John is to work with?
But I don't want to badmouth John because I really do admire what he's done. And it may not be the way I would have gone about it, but he did what he said he was going to do. He made Iced Earth a household name to some people. I mean, he made Iced Earth a band that's known, and that's what he set out to do. And he went about it the way he thought was best for Iced Earth. So I'm not going to put him down. I'm over that.
Yeah, that's cool. Like whenever I've met John, I've met him on a few occasions. I find him a quite intimidating kind of presence. as a super fan, I'm just like, because like I say to him, he's probably heard everything. He's probably heard all this stuff for years. But I'm like, I have like an album. Like this is my favorite album of all time. Like trying to be like kind, and because that's what like one of their albums is one of my favorite albums of all time. And he just goes, so do you want me to sign it? Yes, please. That'd be the conversation. Like he wouldn't say, "Oh, thanks for saying that," or that means a lot and stuff like that. He just said, "So you want me to sign it?" That was the conversation. So I felt a bit like, have I pissed him off or something? What have I done wrong? Like, because everybody else that I spoke to from the band, like this is like few years ago, 2014. So it was the Plagues of Babylon tour. Everyone
Right.
else, great to talk to. Love to just chat and say how grateful they are for the fans and stuff.
Right.
But John's very just, I'll sign
John's
this.
very driven.
Yeah.
He is Iced Earth. I mean, everybody else is a hired gun. You know what I mean? John is Iced Earth. It's his thing. You know, it's his deal.
So this is the thing, right? Yeah, obviously John has been there from day one, and he's still there now. He's obviously the last original kind of member. But there's people that will argue that no, John is not Iced Earth. Matt Barlow is Iced Earth. There's people that will argue that. And I'm just like, how? How is that? Because Matt joined the band in '95. What dinged? Oh, go away, Facebook dingling. Yeah, Matt joined in '95, and he's not in the band anymore. So how can he be Iced Earth if he's not in the band? John's been in the band from day one to present. You know, like you say, he's a driving force.
He is. It's his concept. It's his idea. It has been from the start. Like I told you when we first met him, those stories about his buddy that got killed on the motorcycle and told him to call the band Iced Earth, that's a story I was told from the beginning when we decided to call the band Purgatory. That was a name John already had, and we talked about Iced Earth. John, there would be no Iced Earth if there wasn't. John Schaefer is Iced Earth. He writes everything. It's his ideas. He is Iced Earth. You know, it doesn't matter who's singing or who's playing guitar or who's playing bass or whatever. It wouldn't be without John. And I mean, good or bad, take him for who he is or how he is. You know, that's just the truth.
Yeah, I only can speak of him as a fan. I don't know him, you know. I only can speak of how he was when I've met him briefly.
Right.
But that could be different to any fan, you know. He might have been having a bad day, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, it's just like he's 100% Iced Earth, and it's a fact. You know,
right?
Undeniable fact. Another undeniable fact is that the first album's awesome, and people need to listen to it more often.
Right.
And people need to not stop forgetting about Gene Adam, because you are an important part of the band's genesis, and I think people need to remember that more. I think
I seen a shirt just today that said Gene Adam is awesome. Just today.
Yeah, I like that shirt. My wife said she wants one.
Well, we'll have to see what we can do about getting her one.
Well, I'll set up that Redbubble account. You can just go on it and buy one straight away.
Wow, really?
Because it's a company that basically they're for people that want to sell designs. Yeah. So I will upload my design. Redbubble, they print it on whatever. You can get mugs. You can get all sorts of stuff. Yeah. They do the printing. They do the shipping. They do the transaction. They do everything. And I get like a 20% cut from the sale. So.
Wow.
Which is like $3. It isn't much at all, but it's cool to have. Like, I just thought I'd make something really, because like the first thing me and Chuck did on the first episode was kind of praise, you know, what you done on the first album. I thought I'm gonna make a Gene Adam is awesome t-shirt. That will go down really well. I think people seem to like it as well. So
I just want to say one thing. Go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a really nice shirt. I'll be showing mine in a future episode. Go ahead, Gene.
I just want to say something about the beginnings of the band, since that's kind of where I'm coming from. You know, it's just the songs, when you listen to Purgatory and you compare it to Iced Earth, it was something completely different. Purgatory was, you know, we were doing something like as a unit, as a whole. We were, you know, John and Greg Seymour was John's best friend that came down from Indiana with him to start this band. And it was like a brotherhood, you know. It was like we wrote songs together, and it wasn't about, you know, who was the best singer or who was the best lead guitar player or the best bass player. It was like a group. It was just, we were jamming and we were writing songs. We were doing it as a unit, you know. It wasn't about all that yet. And all that started to come later, as the fame came. And that's all I wanted to say.
There's this thing where, like, you say about a band being a unit, like I consider my band like my second family, because I'm so close to those guys in my band. But I used to be in a previous band. They gave me the boot. They kicked me out of the band. And when I tried to argue my point, they were like, because they were good friends of mine as well, and I was we were like that. We were a good kind of unit. And the lead guitarist said to me, being in a band is a privilege. You've just lost your privilege. And my response to that was, I just thought we were just good friends playing music together. That's worth
right.
That's worth more than a privilege,
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I feel the same way.
It's like, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. Chuck, take over. Save me. Yeah, that's all the questions we have from people. The Facebook didn't explode like I was hoping it was going to do, because a lot of people have been asking questions that you've already answered so far, Gene.
Right.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for having me on.
We need to thank you. It's been a lot of fun as a fan. This has been really neat, and I know a lot of people are going to enjoy hearing your stories. I found out some stuff tonight I didn't know, so this has been really fun. And Jacob's Well, everybody check it out. If you want a hard copy, you can get a hold of me. I can get some hard copies. And when the second one comes out, if you would like to come on and see us again and promote it, or anytime, you are just a total welcome guest anytime you want to be on with us.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, I just want to bring up something, Gene, quickly. I was talking to Chuck earlier. I am planning a trip to the States of Americas. And I was planning, because now we've got this podcast going and I've got to know Chuck. I think it'd be really cool to do a kind of like co-host of podcast meet for the first time kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm planning a trip maybe next year, the year after, of going to Cincinnati, where Chuck is from, and then we're planning to come to travel to Tampa.
Florida.
To Tampa.
Oh wow!
Right, Jacob's Well live.
And Bill lives here, and Randy Shawver lives here, and David Bell, and maybe we can get together and hang out.
That'd be tremendous.
The only downside is that flights aren't cheap.
Well, you better start selling those $3 shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like £800 for a flight. That's a return flight to, I don't know, like Florida, I think. I can't remember. But
that's a lot of t-shirts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of t-shirts. Get going now.
So yeah, redbubble.com/podcastingstone. Buy t-shirts now. Do it. Give me your money.
Well, anyway, thanks again for your time. Sorry we went a little bit over what we had told you we were going to go over, but it's been an experience. It's been great. So,
thank you very much, guys.
Yeah,
Jason, nice to talk to you. Chuck, nice to talk to you. Guys are great. And Chuck, I really wanted to add that, Jason, no bad on you, but Chuck has become almost like a friend to me on Messenger. We talk a lot, and he just always is respectful of my time and everything, and he's more of like a friend now, and I hope that we become friends as well like that, Jason. You guys are great guys, and keep it up, man. It's a great podcast. Everybody tune in, share it with your friends. It's awesome.
Right.
I just want to say, but this last, the fact that we're only 2 weeks old, and that we're at that level of people are watching it, and people are sharing it, and that, and yourself, Gene, you're sharing it, which is, we couldn't thank you enough for doing that. That means a lot to us, and we're just overwhelmed by the support we've been getting from yourself, from Bill, from Mike McGill, from all these former members that we've been talking to, and just Iced Earth fans in general. It's been amazing, and yeah, I want to thank you for being a part of one of my favorite bands of all time. And I would not be a fan of Iced Earth without that first album, because it was the first album I heard. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for giving me this time to speak and to talk about the great times I had being a part of the band. And everybody, I just hope they enjoy it and understand when you listen to the first Iced Earth album that it's like you said, Jason, it's a product of its time. It was thrash metal. We were in Florida. The death metal scene was exploding in Florida at the time. And it was what was going on, man. It wasn't, it's evolved, like you said. Iced Earth has evolved, and that's the roots of it. That's where it came from, right there. So don't be so quick to judge it against the new Iced Earth. Listen to it as it is. It's the first album, and it was the ground floor of the band.
Yeah, man. From the man himself. Just stop comparing. I'm sick of the whole James versus Greeley versus Barlow versus Owens versus Block. They're all great. Stop comparing them. They're all They all have their own part in the history of the band. They all made what their records are on like great. So stop comparing, please, people. Please stop comparing them. Sorry, little mini rant over.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys. See you later.
All the best, Gene. Yeah.
Have a good day.
See you later.
Go to bed now. It's 12 o'clock at night. Go to bed, Jason.
I'm not tired. See you later.
See you, Jim.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, you just saw the wonderful conversation with Gene Adam. We just wanted to do this quick wrap up after it, just to basically do some thank yous to some people that we feel that need to be thanked because they've been giving us so much support. Chuck, did you want to start with some thank yous?
I wanted to thank Bloody Times for sharing our podcast. Simon, is that his name?
Yeah.
Simon, I've talked to him on Facebook Messenger. He's a very nice guy, and I just want to thank him for sharing the podcast on their official page, and he gave us some props there.
Simon, Simon, if you're watching, thank you for this. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the pick as well. Where'd I put it? No. Yeah, Simon was very kind to send me the CD, Bloody Times Destructive Singles, and he signed it. And he said thank you, Jason, and he has signed the case as well, and he's gave me a pic that he signed. So Simon, if you're watching, thank you so much. That means a lot. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. I wanted to
go ahead.
I just want to thank Johnny B for sending me this live CD. I appreciate that, and I just want to thank everybody who shares and comments on our Facebook page and comments on our YouTube page. Our first episode's pushing 700, and that's great for only a couple weeks old. So thanks to everybody that shares and has helped us grow in this Iced Earth community.
I've got a few people that I want to thank because I don't think our page would be, our group would be active without them. Really, I want to shout a thank you to Adam Ortiz. If you're there, cheers, mate. We thank you for the support, dude. You're keeping the group alive. You're spreading the word and stuff. So thank you. You're awesome. John, what's his name? Sorry, I keep forgetting people's names. I'm terrible at this. John Baylor. Thanks, dudes. You're great. Thank you for showing me love for the podcast. Thanks for the support. I'm trying to find people. I keep forgetting people's names. I'm terrible.
Everyone.
Yes, yeah, everybody.
Everyone.
Richard Clark. You seem like a nice dude. Thanks a lot for joining the group. Awesome to see you sharing your stories and stuff from the Birmingham show in 2011 and stuff. Really cool.
I was going to say, everybody who submitted questions, if all goes well, we'll have another guest here in a month or so. And, we'll do the same thing where you guys can ask questions. So we'll definitely keep that going. And definitely, again, final plug of the day, Jacob Well, check it out. It's great. Gene Adam, wonderful, wonderful guest. That's
Now,
just a tremendous.
I thought I'd wait until this wrap up, but Chuck, do you mind if I do my own plug?
Absolutely, hit it.
I've held off on this. Yeah, you know who I am. I'm Jason. I'm a drummer in the band called Alteration. You can find us at facebook.com/alterationmusicuk. We play like a combination of punk, grunge, metal, rock, kind of stir it up into like a cauldron and turn it into like a thick goo. You can check us out on Facebook. We have a sample of our EP called, the song's called Why. It's very kind of punky. So I'd appreciate people if they can check that out. Just thought I'd just plug my own band while I'm at it, you know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for the support. Gene Adam, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It means so much to us. We've learned so much more information about your time in the band and how things were. It's fascinating just to go back to like the past and stuff like that and hear things like that. You are a dude. We love you. You will always be a special part of the band's history to us. So yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I've been Jason. I've been joined by my co-host Chuck Hoskins. We have been the Iced Earth podcast, you know as Podcast in Stone. Thank you, everybody. We will see you later. And subscribe, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to listen to the debut album with Gene Adam because it's awesome. See you later, everybody.